Hello everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4. We are here with a different mod. So it kind of looks like the Victorian Age mod, but it is not. It is the Frederick's mod that was just released. And it's fairly similar in setup. There are actually quite a few differences, like the fact that Africa's whole, America exists. What the fuck? Japan has control of a bunch of stuff. There's some differences. There are differences. Definitely differences. But what I'm hoping is we can get a more accurate go of this kind of era, even though we're in 1936, and see what happens when they actually build units, because that was one of the things the Victorian era mod. They didn't build units till pretty much the very, very end. And then by that point we knew that China was most likely going to kick everybody's ass. So... yeah, it's just how it goes. And then, of course, it crashed. But, hey, what do you do, man? That's just how it goes. Wow, somebody is very Nazi. Really? You guys are super Nazi. Like, that's even more Nazi than the Nazis. Anyway, this mod here splits up Germany quite a lot. Austrian Empire still exists. The Ottomans and stuff still exist. Egypt is actually quite fat. China is a little bit fatter than usual. Japan has this whole area instead of just puppeting it, and there's the Shandong here, the southern clique, which isn't the same as the Guzan clique, and they're a little bit smaller, and Japan owns Taiwan. Philippines are owned by Sweden. Okay. This is a strange one going there, but alright. But yeah, so there's quite a lot of differences, and of course, North America looks like hell. So, I just want to see, with Battle Royale, what we can get up to here with this, and see if the Chinese pull out another win, or will we see somebody else come out of the woodwork. Oh, everybody's just revoking all their guarantees and white piecing if there is any. And the Battle Royale mod, when it was updated now, it starts in 2 weeks as the shortest amount of time. So in about 2 weeks we'll see everything's down. There we go. So 100 more tension, and there's all the wars. There they all are. So Europe, of course, is a powder keg. This poor province here is not going to last very long, I don't think, against... It looks like they're at war with France, yeah. So they're at war with France, and they're at war with those guys. Oh my. They haven't died yet, though. They're not the first ones to die. Ottoman Empire killed the Saudis. Portugal's already dead. Saudi Arabia is dead. Oh my goodness. Poland is already dead as well. They didn't last very long. Plata declared war on that. So yeah, South America also has La Plata instead of Argentina. There's also the Indian Republic. Colombia's here as well. Poor Montenegro's gone. Oh, Baden also just finally fell. I was wondering when they were going to fall. And there's the Caribbean Confederation as well on the mainland, which is interesting. I wonder how well they're going to do. Looks like they're invading poor Louisiana. Is going to get completely sandwiched here. Does Louisiana even have any troops? No, that's why they're getting attacked and destroyed. I see. There's a lot of places going. Denmark is gone. Saikang is gone. Oh, it looks like Louisiana is dead. Netherlands declared war on Hanover. France is on Bavaria. Westphalia was annexed. Wow, there's a lot of stuff just dying here. So France is blitzing its way through Germany. It looks like the Prussians, so probably the final survivors of Germany, are headed into Scandinavia, which is probably a smart idea, because competing with France is probably not the best decision. Oh, that's unfortunate for Finland. They are declared war on by the Russians. The Russians are not overly powerful. I mean, they have a good amount of units, but they're not super, super powerful either. I really don't think anybody right now is on that super powerful trend. The Chinese, they do have quite a few units. They're going to clean up the rest of China pretty quickly, I think. We've got a pretty fucked up looking India here, so it'll be interesting to see who becomes the, ruler of India. My bets are on the Mughal Empire, just because they are quite powerful, and they did just take their land and form it together. The Ottomans have been pretty crazy as well. Oh, Finland's gone. The Ottomans have also been pretty crazy. They've been taking a lot of the Balkans, so Romania, Montenegro, Greece, all gone. Now they're at war with Serbia. This is actually quite quick. Oh my god. Everybody's just getting absolutely destroyed. Wow, look at Ethiopia. So Ethiopia is invading Egypt pretty heavily. They surrounded one of Egypt's units. 2 of Egypt's units. Wow. So how many units does Egypt have left? Just the 1? So these 2 are surrounded. They're going to get killed. So they just have that 1 division left. Oh my god. That's awful. And that 1 division's going to get surrounded if it's not too careful. So it's actually a possibility that we could have a very powerful Ethiopia head going on, which would be very interesting. Very interesting indeed. So Austria is at war with Hanover, so they've tried to overtake the French and the French boundaries there. Who are the French at war with? Is it Hanover? Who are they at war with currently? The Netherlands. Oh. There we go. And the Netherlands are going to get annexed very quickly. Serbia just got annexed. Burma was also annexed. Who are the Ottomans going after now? The Iranians, by the looks of it? Yep, the Iranians. So good luck to the Persians. I don't think that's going to be an equal fight. I think the Iranians, if they can move to their front, they might actually be able to put up a defense for a while. But I don't think it's going to last too long. Japan just declared war on Thailand. Thailand has no troops by the looks of it. Oh, they do have 1. Never mind. They have 1 troop. So if the Japanese are smart, they'll be able to navally invade. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Navally invade very quickly. And it looks like they're trying to do that from Okinawa. So, Yunnan is now at war with the Russians. There's a little bit of state that the Russians could take, but the Chinese have pretty much just taken that on their own. Oh my god, this is an absolute mess. Spain is actually doing quite well in taking, like, a good amount of land. Although, Spain did just go down communist tendencies. They're half democratic, half communist, so a civil war is actually quite possible with the Spanish, even still. And it looks like the Mughal Empire is going to become at least the last surviving true Indian power. Because Gujarat is not doing very well against the Spanish and the British. I imagine the Mughals are at war with them as well. No, they're at war with Bhutan. Not much longer there for Bhutan, though. Poor Bhutan is not going to last. That's a darn shame. Yunnan is putting up a decent fight against the Chinese, though. They're not giving in easy, which is bad for the Russians, because the Russians now can't continue to take land to try to build up their actual power. We've got Prussia on Austria. Oh, never mind. They just declared war on Iran. Hopefully the Ottomans can take more land out of that. So Prussia on the Austrians. Not going well for the Austrians by the looks of it. The Austrians are also at war with Switzerland, who is actually pushing. Gujarat was annexed, and the British Empire is looking at consolidating their losses here, at taking the Mughal Empire. The Mughal Empire has a good amount of units. The British have a good amount of units as well, though, sitting in India. We'll see what happens there. That could be interesting. But if the Austrians are taken by the Prussians, that is going to be interesting. That's a big gain for the Prussians if they manage to do that. I wonder if the French will declare war on them after the fact. Who are the French at war with right now? Oh, the Netherlands are still alive. So where are the Netherlands currently camping? I assume they have some kind of island nation somewhere. I don't think they own any of this. This is all Spanish land. This is all French here. Oh, this is Netherlands land. So where's the Dutch capital then? I can't really see where the Dutch capital is. I don't really know where the Dutch capital is. Oh, never mind. They just capitulated. I was like, where the hell is their capital even at? So the French are now at war with the Swiss, which is going to be bad for the Swiss, because they were doing really well against Austria, but they're going to get easily annexed out. Yeah, Prussia declared war on Switzerland. Russian Empire took 3 states. So Austria just got annexed. Rest in peace, Austria. And now the Swiss are going to lose everything to Prussia and the French. And now the Ottoman Empire is at war with who? Oh, they're at war with Switzerland as well, so they're going to take some of this land here. Okay. I'm surprised they're not at war with the Egyptians. Oh, they went to war with the Mughal Empire, which is getting attacked by the British in some regard. Not really sure what's happening at the moment. Lots of weird things are happening. Oh, the Russians are at war with them as well. Oh, Yunnan was finally annexed by the Chinese. Prussia declared war on Italy, so Switzerland is dead. China's on Thailand, which means Japan's going to have a new target here soon. How's America looking? La Plata has destroyed Indian Republic and is now currently at war with Colombia. Venezuela's on Brazil, but not doing very well. Got San Salvador on the Mexicans, I do believe. And Honduras. Okay. That's not good for them. Oh, Egypt's gone. Panama's at war with Costa Rica. I do believe they're at war with one of the American republics as well. Like the actual United States, yeah. That sucks for the actual United States. Ohio is currently battling for its life against the Native Confederation, who is, I would say, winning. That's a messy one. Who's Quebec at war with? California. Okay. Looks like California's not winning that one either. Sucks for them. So America's a mess. Absolute mess. So Ethiopia's huge. Who are they at war with right now? Are they not at war with anybody at the moment? Oh my god, they're not. That's interesting. So they're just kind of chilling. Japan declared war on the Mughal Empire. Ethiopia declared war on Naples. So Naples, the last surviving Italian... Oh, geez, they're planning some naval invasions. The last surviving Italian province. So Prussia and France have some weird borders going on. So will Prussia go to war with France? I would assume after the Spanish get defeated. Although the Spanish have a lot of land. It's going to be a while, I think, for they to get defeated. They have a pretty big colonial empire going on. Because they've got a lot of African lands. And they've got the land... the land here. Oh, really? That's interesting. Spain's at war with the Brits. So is Russia now. That's interesting, because that'll... They're not going to invade Great Britain. Well, they could. Mughal Empire was annexed. I wonder if the British can now consolidate. No, they're at war with the Russians, too, and the Ottomans. That's not going to go well for them. So pretty much every major power is at war with the British at the current time, which is very strange. Except the Chinese. The Chinese are at war with Australia. Okay. Fair enough. So it looks like Australia is trying to do some landings in Singapore. The Chinese are trying to kick them the hell out, although they didn't. What? Where are you guys going? You're not at war with Japan. I don't know why you'd be retreating right now. Oh, they're at war with France. Did they go to war with France? No. No, the French are still at war with the Spanish. What's left of the Spanish? Oh, goodbye, Lisbon. Where have they moved their capital to, then? Really? Casablanca? Fair enough. Fair enough. I wonder how long they're going to last. I wonder if the French are going to navally invade them. Or they... Well, they could go through their provinces there. So Colombia just got annexed. So La Plata is now at war with Panama. That's going to be bad for Panama. La Plata's pretty big. Excuse me. I figured La Plata's actually stronger than Brazil right now. Brazil's got... Oh, only 7 units, Brazil. Oh. Oh, really? Only 10 units for La Plata? Really? Oh, they are recruiting units. That's very strange. Oh, it's because artillery. I was going to say, I'm like, wait, what? How do you only have, like, that many units? To be fair, France has what? 74 divisions? Okay, actually, that's a lot. Never mind. The Prussians have declared war on the Ottomans. My guess is that it's probably going to go to the Prussians. So we have 61 on 28. Yeah, the Prussians most likely have this one. How many units do the Russians have? They're usually pretty big. Only 38 divisions for the Russians. Huh. I think even the Chinese outdo them then. 50, yeah. I'm surprised the Russians don't have that many divisions. How are the Japanese doing? So 35. So Mr. Hirohito's doing okay. Quebec declared war on the United States. California's gone. France just declared war on Prussia. Whoa. So Prussia is now fighting a two-front. If Prussia quickly annexed the Ottomans, they'd have a chance against the French, but I don't think they do on a two-front war here. I really don't think the Prussians have much of a chance. I mean, I could be wrong. They could completely take them out. But France has such a huge colonial empire. It's going to be a difficult slog, that's for sure. That is for darn well sure. Is that the Prussian? No, it's the Russian Empire. Yeah, it's going to be quite the slog. France has had Roman stuff. I did not realize they had that. I don't know whether the Ottomans will just surrender after Constantinople. What is their... Oh my god, really? 0% stability? Oh, Jesus Christ. They could crumble any time. That's awful. 55% there. France only has 15%. That's pretty awful. Overwhelming colonial upkeep. They're at war. Economic crisis right now. Oh, their factory output's really bad. Yeah, see, the factory output for Prussia is actually quite good. That's what's keeping them out of the negatives there. Wow, that's really bad. Oh my god. Wait, what? Oh, the Russians are now at war with the Ottomans. That's bad. So the Russians now, the Prussia might actually have a chance against the French. Because if the Russians go to war, they're not going to have to worry too much about the Ottomans. Or at least they shouldn't. They really shouldn't try to worry about it. China also declared war on the Ottomans. Oh, they do actually have a land border here. I was like, how are they going to get in there? But they can. Oh, the Native Confederation actually fell to Ohio. Oh my goodness. And now Ohio's at war with the United States, which is woefully unprepared because they've been at war with Quebec and lost most of their shit. So they're going to get eaten up by Ohio. Interesting that Ohio is turning into the powerhouse of the U.S. Good job. What's his face? He tried to run for president and failed really badly. John Kasich. Good job, Kasich. Your dream of ruling America's slowly coming true, although I think, if you look at it, 35, Quebec's 18, that's it? Okay, never mind. You actually might become the powerhouse, unless the Mexicans have you. 29. They could. La Plata's probably... Actually, no, they only have like 10 divisions. Never mind, they're pretty shit. Can't believe they can't train anything. The Mexicans do have an advantage, though, because they do have this state here. What is this? Iowa. So they can move out from Iowa pretty easily here and take you out. They're taking attrition, though. Like, pretty heavy attrition. But they have enough organization right now, right at this moment, that if they wanted to move, they could. I'm also surprised... Oh, yeah, there we go. I was waiting for that one. That Haiti has survived this long against the Caribbean. The Caribbean Confederation has quite a lot of land. I'm surprised Haiti's managed to live this long. Oh, Haiti actually has more units. They're just really bad. Huh. Interesting. Meanwhile, if we look at Prussia versus France, the front has changed. Prussia is pushing into France. It's a slow push, yes, but it's a push, nonetheless. Quebec declared war on Haiti. Ohio declared war on the Caribbean. Ohio took 5 states. U.S. is gone. So who did Quebec declare war on? The Caribbean? Oh, Haiti. And Ohio went for the Caribbean Confederation. Right. Where's the... So they're in Cuba? They could invade it. It's well protected, but it's invadable. Let's see if Ohio's smart enough to do it. So France is actually getting pushed back. France declared that war as well, just so everybody knows. The Ottomans are getting murdered by the Russians at the current time. The Prussians have taken Constantinople but have been stopped here, which isn't great. So they can't really get into the main Turkish land. Because if they could get to Ankara and take the majority, Russia could get the majority of this land, which wouldn't be great overall, but see what happens. We have China and Japan, which is going to be a very messy and gross conflict. The Japanese are also attacking the Russians too, and actually we're pushing into the Russian Empire. Oh, the British have landed as well. So the British are pissed, and they've landed in Russia and are now taking over parts of Russia. So Russia is not looking all that healthy. Taking the Ottoman Empire is something they really desperately need to do. Because I think after France falls, we could see the Prussians declare war on the Russians. Prussia could pull out a win here. It's possible. They could pull out a win. So long as they can just defend Constantinople and take out the French. It's going to be a bloody and long war, but I think they could win it. We have seen the French come back, though, before. They were almost on the brink of defeat, and we have seen them come back. So Same with the Russians. They're still a powerful faction. They could still come back as well. It's hard to say, especially with Japan now tied up in a war with China. That's going to be a pretty interesting one. That's going to be a long and bloody one too. But that British invasion is not good for them. Not good at all. Panama was finally annexed by mostly Costa Rica. So who's Costa Rica at war with now? Oh, La Plata. Oh, Haiti was finally annexed, which means Quebec is now on Ohio. It looks like Ohio is winning that winning that one a little bit. Oh no, sorry, that's Quebec actually. So Quebec is actually winning on most fronts in the north at least. They're not doing overly well in California, and they're doing average coming in through New England, heading towards George Land. Are you fucking kidding me? George Land, really? Who leads Ohio? Edward. So why is it George Land, Mr. Edward? You strange little man. But yeah, Ohio doesn't look too healthy. If the Mexicans joined in, that would be really bad. If Honduras falls, it's possible. They could join in and take advantage. I think it would be in their best interest, too. That'd be interesting to see Quebec, of all friggin' places, be the ruler of North America. Such a strange one. So now they're at war with Venezuela, which does make sense. Venezuela's getting pushed in by Brazil and has been at war with Brazil for quite some time. And Costa Rica looks like they're starting to fold, and they can't get past Ohio because they own that. So it only makes sense. See, if Ohio goes under to like the Mexicans, then we'd have some interesting stuff. So the Russians, they are losing terribly to the British up here. The Japanese are not really a threat anymore because of the Chinese pushing in, and the Ottomans are starting to collapse. The Prussians have pushed in to the mainland and stuff here, but they're not going to get very far because of the Russians, which is a darn shame. But oh well. The British could take the Russian Empire before Prussia even gets a chance to declare war on them at this rate, because the British are just absolutely murdering them. And the French line is stalled. Like, it's stalled right out. They're still winning on pretty much all fronts here overall. The Italian front doesn't look the greatest, but they're definitely, doing well. It's just who's going to win that fight. That's going to be a bloody war. So the Ottomans and the French and the Prussians and the Chinese are on each other's... So they're on each other's side, kind of. That's interesting. The Ottomans are done for. The French are doing quite well. The Prussians, I mean, they have a lot of divisions. They do have more than the French. So it's hard to say how that's really going to go down. But, yeah, the Ottomans are super screwed. The Russians have eaten them alive. And they've got a lot of surrounded divisions, like here. That guy there's fully surrounded at this point. Oh, the Ottomans. They never seem to do overly well. They try, but they never seem to be able to pull it off. The Chinese, oh my, that's such a weird... It's so strange. Also, the Tamil kings are here. Who are they at war with? Ethiopia. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Really? The Tamil kings own this land? So they want to take that over instead? Okay. How's Australia doing anyway? Well, they have quite a few units. They have a good-sized army. Oh my god. They have 36 divisions. Jesus. Jesus. It's actually quite a lot. Wow. I'm impressed. I am impressed. So this war here, how's this going in favor of the British? Like, how... So the Russian Empire... Oh, there goes the Ottomans. Goodbye, Ottomans. Japan, the British Republic, on the Russians, China, and Prussia. It's interesting. Huh. It's a weird, very strange war. But the British have lost just about as much men as the Russians, though. So, I mean, it's not like, it's not going super well in their favor. I mean, it is, but it's just not like, oh my god, wow, obviously these guys are going to win. It's like the Prussian versus French war. Like, the front's pretty much just stalled out at this point. Oh my god, look at that. That's ugly. Ew. Ew, ew, ew. Who are they fighting? Oh, that's the Russians fighting France. Or the Prussians, I should say. So the Prussians are fighting France now in here. Oh, that's not good. That is not good. Are the French at war with the Russians as well? No. Just the Prussians. Yeah, just the Prussians. Huh. Prussians have taken a lot more, excuse me, a lot more casualties, too. France could still pull this off. They could still pull this off. They're making some colonial gains. They've rerouted some of their troops here for colonial gains. I don't know how smart that actually was, though, because I don't think the Prussians care much if they lose that. And if they could bottleneck them here, then it's not going to matter. You know what I mean? Like, the main thing that matters is taking France proper. Again, long-ass war there. The Chinese and the Japanese, that war is... I don't know who the hell's winning it. Couldn't tell you. The Russians, oh, they're not looking too healthy. Japan's getting up to China's, like, unit count. I don't know if an invasion of Japan, like, proper Japan, is even really possible. No, it's possible. There's really no units there. If they can kill off all the units here, they can invade Japan itself. It's just doing that. It's going to take a little time. Definitely going to take a little time. Because they got to push them right out. We're starting to get down to the big players now. Ethiopia's still alive somehow. Ohio is still holding on. They're getting pushed in, but it's very slow. It's very slow. So I think I'm going to pause it here, and we're going to come back when we have our big players, our last couple of players left. Hopefully it doesn't crash, but I'll see you in a minute. So, excuse me, interesting developments just happened. So Germany has formed out of Prussia, and they have fully taken France. They are completely dominated France, and now they have declared war. Also, Quebec has a bit of... Interesting. I haven't even noticed their flag. It's a weird flag. Very weird flag. But anyway, the Chinese have been at war with the Russians for quite some time now, and the Germans, the Prussians, just decided to join in on that fight. And the Chinese have been winning for a while, but now the Russians will pretty much just fully collapse. They have no chance at beating the Prussians. The Prussians have a ridiculous amount of units, 602, and the Russians, I do believe, are struggling in it. 22 divisions. What are the Chinese at? So the Chinese and the Germans are going to be the last two big to fight. 243 divisions of China, so that is quite a few for China, but definitely not as many as the Germans, but you never know. We've seen stranger upsets happen before. The Germans are also at war with the British and the Irish, but I don't think a naval invasion is ever going to happen there. As you can see with the Prussians, they're very protective of their ports right now. It's where most of their army kind of sits, is the ports. So yeah, the Germans are at war with the Russians. They're marching towards Moscow quickly with very little resistance. Again, 22 divisions is not going to defend even this front with the Chinese alone, the front with a superpower like Germany. The Russians just haven't been able to get a foothold. They just haven't been able to do anything, and it's a darn shame that they haven't. Also, the Japanese have landed in China, which could be quite bad for the Chinese. They're also fighting the Australians near Bangkok, which could spell pretty bad news for the Chinese if the Germans declare war on them next, because they're going to have to worry about not only the main front against the Germans, but also worry about Korea, which is now under Japanese hands, and they're going to worry about near their capital with the landing at Shanghai. It looks like they pretty much quelled this landing here. This guy here is running for his life, but they're going to be destroyed. The Australians have been doing really well landing as well. That's going to be a difficult one to quash as well. The Australians have a good amount of units, and obviously the Japanese have enough that they've been able to pretty much take they've taken all of South Korea, and they're moving into North Korea. I think they're just south of Pyongyang right now. Yeah, they are just south of Pyongyang. So kind of crazy what's going on there. But yeah, once the Russians fall, we should see the Chinese and the Germans go to war with each other, which will not take very long. The Russians are not far off from capitulating. I believe if they lose Moscow, that's going to be it for them. So I'm hoping the Germans declare war on the Chinese right away. I'm hoping they don't wait, because it's possible they could wait, but I don't want them to. So Moscow has fallen. The Russians have been defeated. Rest in peace. So they're setting up front lines. They know what's coming. They just don't want to admit it yet, I don't think. Oh, they declared war on Australia. Well, that's an interesting turn of events. So they have this land here in the Congo they need to take over, and I think that's about all they border, because that's Tamil. I mean, they could attempt invasions. They do have the land here that the Australians could easily land invade, which would be bad for the Chinese and the Germans, realistically. But we'll have to see. As far as North America's gone, Quebec and Mexico are at war with the Confederation here. The Mexicans briefly did land in Cuba, but it looks like they're getting pushed back out. And the Quebec is still fighting over the Bahamas. So, yeah. And La Plata and Brazil are still fighting it out. La Plata had pretty much taken Brazil at one point, but it looks like Brazil now is fighting back pretty heavily. So it's really anybody's war there still. But China and Germany, two major superpowers for the region. We'll kind of see. Oh, hello, China. We'll kind of see whether they go to war here or not in the short term. They're at war with a lot of island nations, and yeah, it's just kind of annoying. But we'll see what happens here. And it happened. China versus Germany, everybody. And the Chinese look like on this main front they're getting eaten alive. There's multiple different... Oh, Jesus Christ, what the hell? There's multiple different German enclaves that the Chinese are easily going to be able to take because the Germans have just not bothered to defend them. I don't blame them. Are the Chinese at war with the Tamil? No. The Tamil don't even have any troops here, which is weird. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, they're going to take that. They're going to take, like, Indochina. They may do naval invasions in the Philippines and Borneo, but I doubt it. They're probably way more concerned with the Prussians now advancing into their territory pretty heavily. I don't think they've surrounded... they've surrounded a few units. They're going to easily take this. There's some units defending it, but they won't last very long, unfortunately. There's some units in here, too, that they've surrounded, which is not good. They're going to get taken out. The units in southern Finland as well are probably going to get absolutely murdered. So the Chinese are ending up... They're going to be losing about 20 divisions from just being surrounded, like, right away, where I don't think the Prussians lost any units. I don't think they had any surrounded. Oh, these guys here are. But the Chinese are not moving in. So if the Prussians can link back up with these troops are fine. But if the Chinese even basically walk 1 foot in there, they're all dead. But we'll see what happens, because they're pretty close to linking them up again. So we'll see if they're able to do that quickly, or what happens, really. But yeah, they've surrounded quite a few of the Chinese divisions already, which is, again, very bad for the Chinese. Very bad indeed. But hey, hard to say what could happen here. China also has to deal with invasions with Japan, now that they have to, concentrate most of their units on this front line. Can Japan or Australia get an actual foothold going on in China? I mean, the Japanese have a really good one right now in Korea. So they've pushed back. They have pretty much all of North Korea and South Korea at this point, and they're pushing into China. Their hold here near Macau and Hong Kong are definitely not great holdings. They invade them quite often, but they never are really able to hold them. And the Australians have been beat off in Bangkok. Beat off in Bangkok. Yeah, there we go. But they haven't been taken out of this area here, so they're still attempting an invasion through this this southern region here. So it's hard to say what could happen with those two landings, especially now that the Germans are advancing very rapidly through China. Like, they've taken a ton of land already, and they're just kind of eating them alive. It's kind of insane. I feel bad for the Chinese. They've done so well, but they're just not going to be able to hold up to this kind of strength. It looks like the Chinese have decided to invade and kill off these German units, probably just as revenge in general. Not that the German units care that much. It's not going to affect them too much. they can lose, you know, many, many divisions without having to worry too much about it. The Chinese, on the other hand, well, they can't really afford it. So hopefully they retreat these couple of units out of here before they get surrounded and killed. And they've got a multitude of units near Sochi that just got murdered brutally. There's 4 still left, but they're not going to last long. 3, yeah. 3 of them left, 2, 1 dead. Yeah. So they've already killed off, like, a ton of Chinese units already. So yeah, the Chinese have already lost 2 million men. Germany's lost 870,000. So it's a bloody war on both sides. Definitely bloody war on both sides. But yeah, the Chinese have lost way more troops. And it's not good. Yeah, almost 1 million to the Germans. Which is absolutely insane. Just absolutely insane. Ireland, too, is actually pretty close to capitulating, which is surprising. They still hold their main island. So, I mean, they're going to survive until somebody manages to invade that, which nobody ever will, let's be honest. Nobody's going to be able to penetrate the fortress of the British or the Irish, but, I mean, they're not going to also make any advances anytime soon, so it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, the Chinese are definitely dead. There's no way they're going to come back from this. Absolutely no way. I mean, I could bite my tongue, because it's possible, but I just can't see it. I really can't see it. But this is going to be a fairly long one, even if they do just kind of bowl over them, because they still have to get all the way down to Nanjing, and they're going to start defending once they get down to these last pockets pretty heavily. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to pause it again, and I'll see you all in a minute. All right, it finally crashed. I was waiting for it, because this timer was like barely moving. The poor thing is very sluggish right now, but it does seem to crash in and around the end of August. So the AI right now, Germany is destroying China completely. They've unified this front here. They had a separate front going through Iran and then one through Russia, but they've united this front and continually pushed back. They're getting into India and stuff here now, and they were just winning on that front like crazy. The Japanese have been started to be pushed out a little bit of Korea. The Chinese look like they're trying to prioritize that just so they only are fighting a one-front war and then just defend its ports. Same with Australia. They've been pushed back into this island here. So the Chinese are definitely making a conscious effort. And they are winning some battles and stuff in the north, but they keep getting surrounded. This is like the 3rd surroundment of troops. So this is 6 gone. Whereas I haven't seen any surrounding of the Persians, or the Prussians, I should say. So, yeah. I'm going to call it here, just because it's crashing, for the Prussians. They are definitely going to win this. It's going to be a long and bloody conflict, but they're definitely going to be the victors in the end. So, good job, Germany/Prussia, for your, I think it's 3rd win for Germany. So, good job. So, thank you much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace.